Hi guys, are you there? I am like 1 minute from my house, and so I'm dialing in first in my car, but I'm not looking at you while we drive. But I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So can somebody unmute and tell me if you can hear me?
We got you.
Okay. Yay. Okay. I'm like literally 1 minute from my house. I'm coming home from a Mother's Day massage. So I went and had a 90-minute massage today. It went a little bit long. And so on my way home. Hi, everybody. Don't worry, I'm not looking at you while I'm driving. If you're looking at me, you don't have to worry because I'm not looking at you. And I'm going to be home in 1 minute. I hope all the mamas in Fitme had a nice day today and did some good stuff, or at least felt loved and appreciated. I definitely did. My kids each gave me a card, which was nice, and they made me a decent dinner, which is after our call tonight. Uh-oh, there's a dog on the road. Guys, look at this dog. I'm trying to be careful. Uh-oh. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Okay, good news. Dog is rescued. Amy Heap, what state are you in? I don't want you to unmute if you're driving that.
Driving the beast. We just passed St. Louis, Missouri. So we just passed downtown Missouri. Yeah, we're heading to Kentucky. Kentucky right now.
Wow. For those of you guys that don't know, Amy is on a cross-country voyage with her whole crew and doing an amazing job of drinking her water, getting her movement in, making like Fitme plates work. Like if there's like next level inspiration, it's watching Amy with her 4 kids in a camper hit all of the Fitme basics while she travels across country. It is inspiring. So I guess we're going to get right to it. And like I said, I'm almost home. The first thing I wanted to do to kick off today's call is just a couple of like brief announcements like we've been doing. So last week we had a little hiccup with the mindset call. And so Molly is going to start this week's early so if you missed, if you were prepared for the mindset topic for last week and you can pop in a little bit early, she's going to be leading this week's topic early. So come 15 minutes early to the mindset call so that you can hit both weeks' topics. And the second announcement is we have a slight schedule change for some of the dates that we were sharing. We have some upcoming Fitme events. And so the East Coast one is going to be in September, and the West Coast event is now going to be in October. And so we will have like official dates for everyone soon, but we actually found much better locations and things in October rather than August on the West Coast. I think it's like the get back to school time period right before back to school. There's just not as much cool stuff available. And so we found some amazing stuff in October. So we figured we'd just do it then. So we'll have official dates for everybody for that this week soon. We just had to share. So I'm in my house now. So before we kick off like the topic, I wanted to revisit last week's topic, which we decided to set a movement target for the month of May. And I personally set a movement target of 10K every day. And I am sharing that with you guys because I hit that since we talked. I've hit that 5 out of the 6 days. I missed 1 day. And I'm sharing it with you for accountability because that movement target is something that I committed to for myself. And if you made a movement target last week and sent it to your coach and committed to it, I want you to give your coach that same type of accountability. So I want you to reach out to your coach, tonight or tomorrow and let them know how you did on week 1 of your movement target. So there's no pass fail. There's no like, oh, well, I like for me, for example, like I committed to 10K every day and I actually missed a day. So I could just be like, well, screw it. I did not hit my movement target for the month of May. I am donezo. But I'm not. I'm sharing with you because we're not pass fail and Fitme. And even when we commit to doing something every day, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And so the most important thing is just getting back to it the next day. And so whatever your movement target was for May, I would like you to reach out to your coach and let them know kind of where you're at with it. Were you able to hit it? How many days did you hit it? Give them that accountability. I don't want you to change it. So I don't want you to be like, oh, just because I said 10K every day and I missed 2 days, I need to change it now. I want to do, 10K sometimes. Like, I want you to stick to the goal that you made for yourself, but use your coach for accountability. Share where you're at and know that, hey, at the end of the month, maybe you set a target of getting, 20 workouts in, but you only got 15 in, but then you actually have something you can like learn from and build off of and celebrate and know honestly where you're at. There's this funny thing about accountability where there's like this dance between what's restriction and what's accountability. Well, I think accountability is something we give to ourselves. Restriction is something someone else gives us that we don't want. Accountability is something we choose and we ask for, and we say like, hey, I want this support. I want this, like, I want to be held accountable. But sometimes when we aren't able to follow through or we're not successful with our initial goals, that accountability goes from feeling like support to feeling like restriction. We're like, well, I don't want to tell my coach that I didn't do it. I'm not going to tell him I quit, I'm not doing it. But we created these goals for ourselves. This is accountability. So following through on sharing the status of your follow through is part of that accountability. It's not just like highlight reel. It'd be fun if we all set goals and told our coaches that we were going to do something and then it was going to be perfect. But then you wouldn't, what's the point of having a coach then? So I think wherever you set for your target for the month of May, that's your first thing for the week, is to reach out to your coach and let them know where you are. If anybody can see Sarah on their screen, she is like arranging a tulip bouquet right now in front of me, and it's very like Mother's Day appropriate, and it's also beautiful. You guys should see Sarah's screen if you can't see. So that was little piece one of our Sunday topic for the week, and now I'm going to get to the second piece. Over and over and over again in coaching conversations, I hear things going sort of awry based off of the morning. And whether that is like my morning got away from me and this didn't happen, I overslept, this X, Y, and Z happened, and then the rest of the day got messed up. And our mornings are particularly important, and it's the easiest thing to neglect. We sort of address morning routines actually in the 7-day reset, because we talk about like making your bed and how important that can be to start your day. And we talk about 5 minutes for you. And a lot of times people put that in the morning. But your target for this week is to think about what would be your ideal morning routine and then create that. And what I want you to, this has to be relevant to your real life. So if you imagine like waking up on the beach and like rolling out to like yoga class and paddleboarding across the, water as you meditate to like some kind of like dance music, like, listen, that sounds awesome. But if that's not realistic, then it's not like a good morning routine exercise for you to like imagine it for your day to day. You can imagine that for your like one day. But what I want you to think about is, what sets you up for success? What points you in the right direction? And how can you create a routine around it that you start doing every day? So maybe it's as simple as making your bed, drinking some water, taking 5 minutes for meditation or study or devotions, whatever you need. Maybe it's actually like, this sounds really dumb, but I'm just going to say it anyways, because this is true for me sometimes. Sometimes it's like deliberately taking the time for like the normal personal hygiene, and kind of gets like pushed to the side when you've got like a bunch of little kids. Like the mornings that I take the time to like really wash my face and really brush my hair and like get myself situated feel like a different kind of morning. Sometimes I could imagine that just like sometimes I sit on my porch and that feels like particularly good. For you, you have to think of what it is that sets the day in motion and on the right track. Because I think of healthy choices almost like dominoes. Sometimes we can do tiny little things at the beginning of our day that start the dominoes in the right direction. So something as simple as like a morning routine that might take 10 minutes of your entire 24 hours, 10 minutes that you can do in the morning might be the reason that you have veggies with your breakfast, might be the reason that you pack your lunch for work, or that you drink your extra water, or that you like have an optimistic mindset like when you get to, see people. It might be the reason that you go to bed early because you know you're going to wake up for your morning routine. So 10 minutes of a morning routine can be the difference maker. And sometimes identifying what those keys are is actually the point of this exercise. So you can, again, hypothetically imagine what it should be, but thinking about what it needs to be is what I'm asking you to do. What does your morning routine need to be to set you on the right track? Not what it should be. What does it need to be? What's the difference maker for you personally? Does it have to do with your breakfast? Does it have to do with your like quiet time before you interact with the world? Does it have to do with breathing fresh air? Does it have to do with reading or meditation? Does it have to do with like waking up your body with some sort of morning, calisthenics routine? What is it for you that sets your day on the right track? And that is your target for the week. Is I want you to think about what it is that you need to have in your morning routine. And if you can think of 2 or 3 things that are just going to be a part of it always, that's really the takeaway. It's not just it's if you could imagine probably 20 things, but if you could even have 3 that you commit to, that's really the how you would turn this into like a brain exercise into reality. In my ideal morning routine, I do these 3 things. What are those? So with that, I'd love to hear from you guys. Like if someone already has a morning routine that they really do well with, that they've worked hard at, that makes a difference in their day, I would love to hear about it. And if you don't and you feel like you should, I'd love to hear what you think needs to be in it. Anybody? Judy, can you unmute yourself? I don't know if I can do it from my phone.
Yep.
There you go. You're good. Perfect.
I have a routine that I don't always follow, but I have a better day if I do. If I start off, I've got to have coffee. I mean, my first cup has to happen. And I have to take care of the dog, of course. But I like to sit on my back porch with my Bible and do my reading. Or it doesn't have to be that long, but just to get me going. And so that's important to me. And when I do it, my day goes better. And it's also good if we can get out and walk in the morning, because when the day wears on, we still get out there, but sometimes it's hot. The dog is old. She doesn't do well in the heat. So if we can get out there like we did this morning, we were out there by, I guess, 9, which isn't really early, but it's earlier than we often go. And we did the loop, the 2-mile loop together, and she was doing a lot of snipping, and then I just kept dragging her along, and finally we hit a stride, and it was a good thing. But so those things, that coffee, reading my Bible, and walking first thing, that works for me. And of course, water's the very first thing of the morning, first thing. So that's all.
Are there ever days that you could do those things, but you don't?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And what gets in the way? Like, what stops you from doing it where maybe you get going or distracted with other things?
Yeah, one thing that gets in the way is I love to read the Washington Post. I've got a subscription. So Honeysuckle goes out and gets it at the curb and brings it in the house. And if I get sucked into reading the newspaper, then the Bible goes by the wayside. So then I don't feel calm when the day starts. I usually feel angry or upset or something because the news is never good. You know that. So that interferes.
I think it's good to I think it's good that you know what it is.
Yeah.
Because then you can catch yourself, you know. The dog's name is Honeysuckle.
Yeah.
So if Honeysuckle tries to interrupt your quiet time with some current events, negative.
Can you see her?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Old yellow labs.
She's my buddy.
So I like that. I think you identified a couple of things. One is just like some basics, water and coffee, and then that quiet time that makes you feel peaceful. Having that, you know, your morning devotion time with your Bible, and then being able to go and walk and get outside. That sets your day on the right track. I like it.
Good.
Cool. Does anybody else have a particular piece of their morning routine that they want to share? Does anyone have zero morning routine and they know that this week I'm talking directly to you?
I'll share.
Yeah.
So mine is, oh, sorry.
Fine, go ahead.
So I think Sarah first, and then I think that was Mary.
For me, echoing Judy, it has to be water. I have to start my day with like a big glass of water, like or 30 ounces of water just to get my day going on the right foot. I feel like otherwise that's an easy thing for me to fall behind on. And everybody knows that having that before bed is not a good scene. So that's a big one. And then your first bite counts is a really big deal for me. That one really sets my food up for the whole day, just how I feel about food and my mood and all of that stuff. So I have to have a solid breakfast, and then I can keep on a good routine the rest of the day.
So water, like in making a really big dent in your water, not just like a glass of water, but like a solid dent in your water, and then setting your first bite as like an intention for the day. I like it. I want to point out to everyone that Sarah has a bowl of what looks like crushed Oreos, and it is dirt.
It's dirt. Yeah. I wish it was perfect.
Mary, what were you going to share about your routine? I think it was Mary. She's unmuted. If it wasn't, was it somebody else? There you go. Okay.
Right. I don't know if you can hear, the kids are watching the show, but I'll stop loud. So obviously mine's a little different right now, but my normal routine is definitely get the coffee and do my quiet time, and then some sort of movement. And what distracts me is I start working on work or I look at Facebook. And so I have started putting the phone in the bathroom, and that really helps. And I leave it there the whole quiet time. But this time, like when you were saying that, I was thinking, what little piece of that can I still do, even though we're like waking up at the crack of dawn and driving somewhere? And I think right now, like it sounds simple, but even like walking to the bathroom alone by myself with my thoughts without my phone or anything, I think that just 2 or 3 minutes by myself every morning, whether it's in the back bedroom or outside, just somewhere, ideally outside, because it's not quiet.
I like that, Amy. I think it's good how you like considered adapting it to like your current situation and giving yourself that that couple minutes. And you brought up the number one like thing that messes up morning routines in my mind, which is cell phone. Like if there is something that you can immediately put yourself on the, you know, the path to feeling frustrated, it would be opening social media, opening emails, you know, seeing things too soon that you're not ready for, but allowing it to enter anyway. and then not giving yourself the time to sort of center that you deserve, like you deserve that peace and that boundary for a certain amount of time before we have to interact with the world. And I think that's what I'm really asking everybody and challenging them is to say, like, what is it that you need to set your day on the right track? And once you identify what that is, then it's not just doing it, it's protecting it. It's what do I need to do to make sure this happens? And then that nothing else gets in the way. Because then we can start to, it's just like everything, right? Like we talk about boundaries around our food choices, around things that we actually want versus what someone else is like, here, eat this. And you're like, no, thanks. Like practicing things like that, but having ownership over our morning routines and identifying like, yeah, I know exactly what sets my day on the right track means that in a case like Amy, like she's literally traveling across the country, or maybe you go on a vacay, or maybe you're like on a work trip. You might say to yourself, hey, this looks a little bit different, but my whole day is different. When I like drink a glass of water, I get to go for a little walk. I have some quiet time before I start to interact with the world, changes my day. And you can start to duplicate that everywhere. And if you've never considered what you need, that's your challenge for the week. What do you need? I promise you, you need something. And I think for some people, we think of morning routines as almost like, you know, self-help guru types that like have some affirmation time and then do a cold plunge. And then you're going to like meditate quietly. Like, even if we're not imagining like the vacay version, we almost imagine like that it's just not realistic for real life. And I think we can go ahead and just like break down that limiting belief and say you can actually have whatever you want. If it would actually make a big difference for you to do a cold plunge or a sauna sit or, you know, a walk, how can you make that happen? It doesn't have to be like impossible. You know, even I was joking about the paddleboard thing, but it's not really a joke because I've actually imagined that this summer I would love to start a lot of days with paddleboarding. And how can I do that? So think about what it is that you need. What would make a difference for you in the morning?
What I did this morning, Christy, hi everyone, it's Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
I really get rejuvenated by being near water. Like the beach is my absolute favorite. So today I had really, this past week, I've really been in a really bad headspace just because I have so much going on. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go to the pier about 20 minutes from my house and just walk on the pier. My husband's got the littles, you know, the gremlins, and, you know, I'm just going to take the time and walk. And I did about 2.5 miles just walking. I had my headphones on, playing my house music, and just really enjoyed it. And I was in just a better place. Like it basically allowed my mind to just stop and reconnect to just the silence. That's what I appreciated, just the quietness of being able to prioritize what I needed to do, think through some things that I have been really struggling with, and get a game plan going forward. So that time in the morning I think I also get the same feeling when I sit on the porch because the sun shines on my front porch in the early morning. So the time that I have gotten out there before the boys are awake, my husband's already logged into his computer, and I have about 10-15 minutes of just quiet time on the porch with my cup of coffee. Because I'm like Judy, nothing makes sense until I've had my cup. I think that's I'm going to try to see how I can work that into my daily routine. I can't get to the beach every day, but at least in the morning, if I can get out of my front porch now that it's getting warmer and get that 10 minutes of sun and coffee, I think that'll help my day.
Yeah, and even if you carved it out, like by waking up 10 minutes earlier, it'd probably be worth it so that you could get it every single day and just get that fresh air and the sunshine and start your day on the right track. And then some days, like on the weekends, and you can pass off the gremlins, you know, you get to the water version.
Exactly.
Does anybody journal or write in the morning? I only ask that because that's one of the things that I love to do in the mornings. And it's a
Chrissy,
piece of, yeah.
well, I think that's part of what I'm working on is doing,
Mhm.
I do the 10-minute meditation and then I'll do 10 to 15 minutes of writing. So that's my morning routine that I've been trying to implement. It's definitely water, coffee, meditate, journal. I take like a couple of minutes to do any tasks I need to get done early in the morning. And then it's just getting ready and making sure that I have my breakfast and lunch ready for the day.
Do you use an app for meditation, or do you just have quiet time? Like, how do you do that?
I use Headspace.
Mm-hmm. I like Headspace. There's a couple good apps. Headspace is one. Happy Not Perfect is another that I really like. And then I think there's even one more. I can't think of it right now.
There's Calm. There's
Calm.
Insight Timer. Yeah, I think those would be probably some of the popular ones. But yeah, I like having a guided meditation. I can't just sit and try to meditate on my own.
Mm-hmm. I like the guided ones too. So you kind of have like a routine of 15 minutes of like meditation and then 15 minutes of writing.
Yeah, well, my whole morning routine, I've worked out. It takes me an hour and a half. So I have to wake up at 5:30 if I want to be out of the door by 7.
Mm-hmm. I like it though. I like that you know how long it takes.
I timed it all. Yeah. I had to time it all and structure it. And I'm like, okay, that means I need to wake up at this time in order to go through it. And I also have it every night. I write it down as well. Like, this is what I'm going to do for the day, but I write out my morning routine. I put meditate, write, do this, that. And then that way I already set the intention and I'm like ready to go in the morning.
I love that you did that. And I love you've thought so much about it because I think, Maritza and I did a coaching and mentorship call a couple of weeks ago. And that was one of the things you identified was like, what does future Maritza do? Like, who is doing the things she wants to do? And one of the things is she consistently does her morning routine. So her homework was to like think it through and then put it into practice so that it happens. So it's awesome to hear that you do it and that you know it thoroughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I like that. I think it's important to know how long it takes. That's like a small detail, but it does matter. Anything that we're actually going to do in our real life, we need to think about how long does this take? And that way we can decide, okay, well, I need to wake up at 6:30, so I have 30 minutes to do this, or I need to wake up at this time to do it. So that's really good, Maritza. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
and for sharing the apps.
Yeah.
So guys, that's your target for the week. 2 things. 1, to follow up with your coach on your movement target for May and let them know how you're doing with that. And 2 is to discuss what needs to be in your morning routine. And I challenge you to make it happen and kind of evaluate how is your day different when you do that. And then commit to sticking to it as much as you can, as often as possible. It's one of those things that I would like to categorize in the like practice. We practice a morning routine the way that somebody would practice yoga or practice martial arts or practice meditation. It's not like you just wake up one day and it's like that. You develop it, you try it, you learn, you commit to it, you attend to it would be like a word that I would use. You attend to it. And in that way you practice a morning routine. And so that you get better at it and that you can use it to set your day on the right track. So thanks for popping in for the coaching call to set your week on the right track starting today. It's good to see everybody's faces. I can't do a group picture because I'm on my phone. But if let's see. No, I don't think I can do it. That's okay. So everybody have a fantastic week. Again, thanks for plugging in. If you need anything, just reach out. And we will see y'all in the Marco Polo groups and in Facebook. Keep up the good work with the challenge too. I know lots of you guys are crushing it. All right. Bye.